Gentlemen, thank you for coming. How's everybody doing? Good? Great, let's get into it. As you all know, I am in love with wrestling and want to see it grow. I've worked really hard to try to organize the sport a little bit better, and tonight I share with you my plan. So I'm just going to quickly go over the things on the packet, and then we're going to really just get into a discussion. And you guys tell me how we can help one another make this a more popular sport and retain our kids longer. So the idea behind the season is that we'll have a 30-match season spaced over 10 events. We'll have the complete schedule before the season begins, so that way every family can know and plan their weekends in advance. I know how frustrating it can be for families to not know how long they're going to be at an event and which events they're going to. This will be very obvious and upfront. Every event we can have down to just an hour and 15 minutes, so we'll be competitive with all the other sports. And I say 3 matches per event, but it'll more likely be 2 to 4. Is there anyone who hasn't been to a Warzone event yet? Okay, so if you guys haven't been to one yet, you'll kind of, I'll be doing a little demonstration, a quick one, and you'll kind of understand why I say 2 to 4, where we can't really tell until they're there. The next thing, and this is really important to me, children will only be paired in winnable matches for both wrestlers. We will not send kids to unwinnable matches unless requested by their coach or their parents. I think that's something that we miss out in a lot of wrestling, where we just want to kind of get them their matches already because it's so difficult to organize. And we've often seen a kid go and get his butt whipped 3 times, and not necessarily the kid thinks wrestling's not for me, but the parents, and they might not like seeing their kids get beat up like that. You've pretty much all seen that at this point. Is there anyone who thinks it's good?
You're a vet?
Say it again?
Vet itself?
No, I meant watching a kid get his butt kicked by someone who knows what they're doing. I think that we deal with so much of that at every event that I go to, you know, and I know a lot of coaches want to protect their beginners. Are there coaches in here that don't bring their beginners to events? Okay, and is it because you're not confident that we can put them in fair matches against other people at their level?
It's usually the parents.
I'm going to prove, once we get all the kids there at the same time, that I can organize it so that way no matter how much of a beginner you are, we're only going to send you out there if we have another person of equal skill to you. When I say winnable, I don't mean that, I just mean both guys have a chance. That's all. So this season, cell phones won't be necessary. You'll still be able to use them and have the same experience that we gave last year, but we're also going to have someone at the head table that can just, if someone wants a match, they can simply go, hey, my name's Jason Layton, I would like a match. Okay, you're in. So that'll be going, and we'll have a projector to display when you're coming up. We'll still do text message notifications, but we'll have that as well. Rankings will start this year, and the way we're going to do rankings is so we can give the most amount of bragging rights to the most people. So you'll be able to organize it by your exact weight and your exact age. So you can be like, I'm the best 83-pounder who's under 11 years old. I think that'll be a little bit better than if we, because we can't really crown a champion at our events. We will introduce team scorings, which I think will be really fun for all the kids and to watch the teams compete against one another. That'll kind of build some camaraderie. Also, since these skills will kind of even all the kids out, once we get going, the advanced teams won't necessarily have a leg up over the beginner teams, because every guy is going to be ending up in quality matches. It's going to be more who can motivate their kids to put on a good performance that day. So I think pretty much every team will be able to do a good amount of winning, or at least putting points up on the scoreboard. If we allow individuals to attend the events, they will score on the individual rankings but won't score for teams. There will not be admission for league events. I think it's just easier and better if we're upfront about what the fees are at the very beginning of the season, and that way people aren't. I see a lot of times people are frustrated when they come to my event and they find out they got to pay $5 for each one of their family members. When soccer, baseball, and the other sports don't do that, so I don't think we should do that either. And the last one is there's no awards for individual events. These aren't tournaments. There's no winner. They're just a day of matches, a competition day where you score points for your team. At the end of the season, we can do some awards for teams and for all-stars and for most improved and for highest rated at each weight. There'll be a lot of ways that we can come up with some cool awards to make the kids feel like they had a good season. I'm even considering possibly doing that like at the same time where we could potentially watch the NCAA finals. We've been getting together with like 100 people to watch the NCAA finals. It's a great time. I think that would be like an awesome end of the season banquet type of thing. Any questions so far? Yes, Coach.
You have an hour and a half, is that from start to finish or per kid?
It's an hour and 15 minutes
Total?
from the time the kid arrives
Okay.
to the kid leaves.
Okay, good.
We will
Good.
be there longer.
Good.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I'm going to show you how the flow of the day works.
Yep.
Obviously, some parents have 3 kids in different weights. You're still going to be dealing with a long day.
Okay.
But people that only have 1 kid, hour and 15 from arrival to leave. Yeah.
Got it.
Okay, so I'm just going to show you guys a quick demonstration of how the events will run. First, let me show you guys how someone will be added to the pairing pool. If they have, well, a quick demonstration of what the pairing pool is for people who don't know. This is it. It's a list of the wrestlers who are waiting in line to find a match. Right now, War Machine is up next, and we're going to find the best pairing for him. To get into this, you can either do it on your phone by clicking Find a Match, or you can come say, "Excuse me, Jason, I would like a match." And there's just a list of participants. We're going to have someone sitting here with this list, and they can just add people to the pool as they go, just by clicking a button. Okay, so here's our new system for pairing wrestlers, and I think this is going to be the best way that we can really do it. I click on View Best Pairings, and it just shows the tournament director everyone in order for War Machine as to who's a good matchup. And you can see that the best matchup right now is Josh Gomez, who's very close in weight, he's very close in age, and he's also very close in rating. Does anyone have a question so far? Okay, so usually it'll be the top choice. I just select him. Both wrestlers get text message notifications. We display it on the projector, and now we can continue. I'm ready to pair the next guy. Additionally, this year, you have a question, Ted?
Yeah, what's the parameters for age?
So we can set them at every event. I would like to set them as narrow as possible, but I say we should probably use around 25% as max parameters. I'll always try to avoid going to the max, but sometimes you get a kid where they just...
I'm not that smart. Don't go with percentages. Give me ages, like 8 and 10, and you know. Like,
So yeah, so like let's say a 6-year-old shouldn't go 8. Like an 8-year-old would be the most for a 6-year-old, and even that's a lot. For an 8-year-old, maybe 10 years old. For 10 years old, maybe 12, 12 and a half. The way we do age, it's also by decimal point, so we can be a little bit more precise. That it's not like 12.9. We know where they are.
You know what a decimal point is already.
yeah, I got it.
So you see this guy Mike Severino. This is something new that we have for this year. I can see his past results that he's right now. He lost 1, then won 2, lost 1, and then won 3, and that can help the tournament director if he sees that a kid is on a large winning streak or a large losing streak. So a kid that's lost 3 matches in a row, I can give him a little bit of a softball versus the kid who's been winning all the matches. It'll also help me to find kids that have been inappropriately rated. Right now, the software does a pretty good job. It assumes that everyone is whatever the average for their weight is. It does not take into consideration age. So you can imagine really heavy kids, it overrates because it rates them with older kids that are the same weight. And the same thing, like really small super athlete kids get underrated. So I'm going to be able to see it here, but I'm also going to depend on you guys to let me know, hey, I feel this kid's not rated correctly. Can we move him? And that's a pretty simple process for me to just change what his rating is. You don't really have to understand what the ratings mean themselves. All you guys should know is that anyone outside of 400 points is probably going to be a bad match. At 400 points, the person's only winning 1 out of 10. The higher rated is winning 9 out of 10. I think after that, it gets pretty wild where they're not winning at all. Any questions so far?
What goes into your weight adjusted rating?
So,
Without giving up your secret sauce.
I'm just trying not to. There's this thing called an ELO rating system where every specific welcome.
Sorry.
Come on, come join in and grab a chair. It's all right. Thanks for coming. As kids gain or lose weight, their rating adjusts accordingly. So if you gain weight, we understand where you belong now compared, and it adjusts as they wrestle depending on who they beat or thank you, Ted, or who they lose to. I'll get a little bit detailed. If they're a 100-point rating difference, the higher rated guy wins 2 out of 3. 200 points is 3 out of 4. 400 points is 9 out of 10, and then it works logarithmically. So by the time you're at like 1,000, it's like 1 out of 10,000 or something like that. It becomes pretty rare.
Good question.
Yes.
So a kid never wrestled before, first year wrestler.
Okay.
What's his ranking? What's his rate? Is it gonna be the average of kids his age?
So
Or
yeah.
how
So
do we do that?
there's 2 ways we can go about doing that. If you know a kid that's as good as that kid that's already wrestled, we can just copy his rating. That's one way. The other way we can do it is there's a little questionnaire that I can fill out. So if you as the coach write that they're raw beginner, never wrestled, I don't want to lose kids because they had a bad experience their first match. So I would honestly, the best bet is I think if you help find his first match.
But either way, it'll only be his first match, right? Because then he'll be re-rated after his first match.
The second,
And if he gets,
he'll be either, if he beats the first guy that he wrestles, he'll be rated at least above that guy. If he loses to him, at least below him. But I'm gonna count on you guys for introducing these guys into the pool. I want to wade guys in and not get them beat up because we'd like to keep them for hopefully their career. Any other questions so far? Okay, so this last thing that we had added this year is called the weight range, the pool weight range, and this means right now only wrestlers between 40 and 100 pounds can join the pool and get a match. And this is how we're going to structure the events. So we'll have like a time where 50 pounds to 60 pounds can wrestle. They show up, they're able to wrestle at this time, they can keep fighting matches. If I edit this pool range right now, and let's say change it to 50 to 110, as soon as I do that, it's going to kick everyone out who is under 40 pounds, won't let them rejoin, and now we'll allow guys that are between 50 and 110 to join. So this is our way that we can just structure it so everybody's there for an hour and 15. And we'll be changing this every like 10 minutes as we just slowly slide it throughout the day. Questions?
If you're in the pool and you change something, that puts everyone out of the pool, and then you gotta
Nope,
reach out
it
there.
only puts the people out of the pool that aren't in the range. So people that were under 50 pounds will have been kicked out.
Okay.
If they've already been paired to a match, they can complete their match.
When he announces it, he'll announce like you have 10 minutes left. From 50 pounds, you have 10 minutes left
Yep.
to get a match.
Yeah, we should be able to get it to where it's like clockwork, where they know when it's gonna turn off on them. Any other questions about how this is gonna work? Okay, good. So these are my proposed costs. I wanted to make the cost as inexpensive as possible. It really depends on how many wrestlers and how many teams we're gonna have supporting. The more wrestlers we have, the more I can make the price go down. But this is just kind of what I selected, assuming that we're gonna be able to get around 200 kids, which I think will be able to float the league. For individual wrestlers, which will come after we allow teams, we'll do $300 for the season, which works out to 30 an event. More than 5 wrestlers will be $250, and so on. You guys can see what it is. Are there any objections to what the price is? Yes,
This
good.
is the club is supposed to pay you this, or they're gonna?
I think what I wanted, I don't want them to know about this. I want this as your opportunity to kind of sell it with your practices. So you could sell it you could sell it for the full $300 to your wrestlers. That way you guys can be, getting some of it as well.
All right.
But I mean, I'm open to suggestions as far as other ways to structure things.
Well, the thing is, 10 events, we only do, like during the winter, we do maybe 12 events. And we can't commit to, excuse me? So, I mean, if they don't wanna go to 10 events, what's the option, $40?
Yes. What is the what do you guys think should the season be? The 10 events is arbitrary. This is just a discussion right now with us. So Like, what do you got? I think we need some commitment though, because our problem last season was that we'd have one team trying it out one event, and then we'd have another team trying it out at another event, instead of getting all the beginners together where it's really gonna operate well.
Right.
So I don't care if we only do one event, as long as I have the commitment and I know that everybody's gonna get their beginners in together.
So, sorry, good.
Let Teddy go.
Go ahead, Ted.
Teddy.
Alright, so yeah, I'm saying the same thing as Tommy. There's no way we go to 10 events. I mean, if you know, maybe we go to 4 or 5 tournaments, like maybe 2 in December, then maybe 3 in January, and that's not even including our Suffolk County Championships,
Right,
and the
exactly.
soup, you know, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So, it's too much, you know,
And
for
it's
me.
gonna be the
And
same-
and then
yeah,
if you're
it's gonna
gonna
be the
bang them
same
for
kids.
40, you know, I know we're close, because everyone charges
35,
about
yeah.
30, you know, so the 40's not prohibitive, if you
Right,
ask me.
right.
But the 300, it just seems like it's too much
Yeah.
for me.
And the thing also is that, again, the concept, I had a lot of good response from the parents and the kids from last year who went to the tournament. We sent a lot of kids, but it's not, you know, repetitive every week or 10 times. It seems you want to change it up where you have a different type of setting. So for me to tell a kid, you gotta, you know, you have 10 events, you gotta pay for 10 events, I gotta add on to tuition, it's kinda, you know, I don't wanna force it down their throat, and then we like to go to different places, we like to have different faces. So, I could probably say 5 for us,
Okay.
maybe more, you know, off-season, like after the kid states, we'll do a
So-
few. But I don't wanna, I don't wanna, you know, don't
No,
go by
coach,
me, I'm just.
coach, like I said, I needed to get you guys together to have
Yeah.
the discussion, because it might make sense for us to do 10 events,
Right.
where we're doing them scattered throughout Nassau and Suffolk, and you guys are letting me know in advance the ones that you're coming to. But I have to know going in, because this year it was like, I hope I get enough guys to show up. And that like really just, it's not just the financial part of it, it's like if you don't get
It's
enough
important.
wrestlers to attend,
Yes.
you don't have a good event,
Right.
and nobody's happy.
Right.
You know, I know if we get 300 people to an event, I'll be able to kill it for the kids and the families that are there. With 100, it becomes kind of tricky. Another thing that I did wrong this year was I was very confident that I could give everyone 6 matches in 2 hours. And I was able to do that, but I'd send out a lot of bad matches. I'd send a lot of kids out that like they were gonna get their butts whipped. And I think I've learned my lesson. And this year, we're not gonna, if you wanna get a lot of matches, you can, but we're not gonna send kids out into the bad matches just so I can get them their 6. Did you have something else, Teddy?
Yeah, just say again, same thing like Tommy was saying. I got a lot of good feedback, right? And just so I like the fact that they're in and they're out, and everybody likes that. And my coaches like, everybody likes it. But it's just the number. Like I don't know that we can tell them, like you got to
Forget
do
the-
a certain amount. I like to be able to offer, and you know maybe 5 or 6 kids want to go to a tournament this weekend. Then the 5, you know. So I don't know that we can bang them up front for a fee. I think just you go, you pay your $40 or your $30. If you're gonna get 4 matches, you know that's
The
it's
problem
not-
with that is that kids think wrestling is optional. I see so many kids that they're like, they just don't go. You know, I mean, I want all my kids to compete. Wrestling is about the competition.
I think there needs to just be a buy-in. I think 10 is a lot. Like, I think if
Okay.
you have it, maybe 5 committed and everybody shows up to those 5,
Yeah.
it'd be a huge turnaround. Then you take it, I mean, I'm kind of mirroring this. I was in Jersey for about 6 years and here for my stepson's freshman year, but we spent our whole youth there. They had about, so it's all rec programs is going for each school had their own rec program. And they would do about 8 duels and then 2 to 3 tournaments, right? But those duels are mandatory. Those are committed for the team. So if you do something like that, where each team commits at least, okay, this is their dual match, for lack of a better term, come to these tournaments, and then you do your 2 to 3 or 4 or 5 tournaments, whatever you want. But at least these become the main focus, you know, and you get that commitment, and everybody gets their matches.
You should sell like a hat.
Well, I think you need
Well,
to start. I think 10's a lot.
I
I don't know what they do.
right now we're gonna leave here thinking about 5. I think
I think 5's a doable number.
okay. Yes.
Is the older program's the same? Because I was talking to Teddy as a sidebar. He charges a fee to work out, and then they pay to go to events.
Tournaments on their own.
Is that how everyone works?
We're like the only sport that does that.
I get it. I'm
Every
just
other
trying to
sport is practices and
collectively
competitions combined.
just
Yeah,
trying to
it's
put
just like a fee to come wrestle.
So that's
but
what
it doesn't
everyone
include
does.
any-
Yeah.
All right. So that's something we need to think about, you know, we say, hey, you can, you know, we can get these team events and, you know, if you offer a discount, you know, what's like for kids counties to qualify?
So you're committing to.
It's more important. I'd rather have Yeah, okay.
I think you also gotta look at your season too, because in December 1st, we don't start our kid wrestling program the first week of December.
Well, that's.
So those new kids are not gonna be ready to wrestle until a couple of weeks. Even kids that are coming back aren't gonna feel ready to wrestle for a couple of weeks that they're in the program. You understand what I'm saying? And then you run into January. January's prime, but then February, a lot of guys here coach at the junior varsity level, leagues, counties, states. That takes a few weeks out of it. So I think like you gotta look at like January and March as the prime, weekends that we can get kids out to wrestle. And how many? That's 8 weekends.
So,
You know what I mean?
yes. So I want to first address something that you said, and this is like everyone's opinion right now, is that we've got to get kids ready so that way they can wrestle someone who's as good as them. But I don't agree with it. I think as soon as a kid is ready to go live in the room, he could go live against that same kid in a little bit of a more organized structure where someone's keeping score. Now, I don't think first week wrestlers should be going out there wrestling, but maybe. I had a kid this year who started at Warzone. He got his first match, and then he started coming to practice afterwards. He just knew he had to try to pin the other guy, and I made sure I put him out against the right kid. He had a close match. He actually won. He did another one. He won. He did a third one. He lost, and he started wrestling. I think as long as we put them out, as long as they understand you're trying to pin the other guy and not get pinned, and they know like how to not like hurt people or bite them, they can go and wrestle. But I mean, I hear you guys about the number of events. I'm gonna come up with another like package to officially offer you guys after tonight's discussion.
Right.
So a
Jason.
smaller number of events sounds good to me.
Right, and keep in mind, like, there may be, the whole team might not go, but that you might have the kids that sign up for those half events, but they also wanna go to other events. So, they're paying through the team for half the events, and now they wanna go on their own to the individual events, so the price that they're gonna pay 25 and then 40 when they're by themselves,
Well, I'm not gonna do a ton of events if I'm not getting the buy-ins from the team. I would rather just if we're only gonna do 5, we're only gonna do 5. They're gonna be good events that are successful, and that'll be that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to make the software as available as possible to the other like tournament outfits.
Right.
So maybe someone else will start using the same system, but for me, that's about as much as I'm willing to commit to right now. So everyone thinks 5 is a good start for our first season. You can turn it up as we go. Maybe next year add some. Okay. So now I made a list of dates of just what it's so saturated already. I don't want to, Kings Park and Wantagh are both on the same day. What do you guys think? How should we do this so that way I can know what you guys can make?
We can make,
Wantagh is a huge tournament, and they have a ton of beginners.
So wait, gentlemen, so these, unless except for I think Blue Wave, every single other date that's on here is just the weekend it was last year. I didn't speak to the programs. I spoke to Coach Jeremita, so theirs is actually going to be December 8th. But I just assumed that Kings Park would be the third Sunday.
Yes,
And
that's right, and the other one we
Yeah.
had for you was the 12th
no.
of January.
Long Beach is gonna be, we're flip-flopping with Long Beach.
say it again.
We're flip-flopping with Long Beach.
So you gonna do the first?
Long Beach took December 8th.
Yeah,
So you're gonna do the first?
yeah. But I gotta work it out with Jason, and I gotta figure it all out.
I mean, it's pretty much the guys in this room are the ones I'm most concerned of not stepping on your toes. If you're going to be supporting us, we're going to be making sure that I'm not going head to head.
Again, though, we're gonna go
I'm going to
back-
try not to go head to head with any tournament. That's obviously the goal, but if we're going to do 5, I have to fit them in somewhere. Do you guys, first off, let me ask you guys this: is Saturdays possible? Who thinks Saturdays is a bad idea?
No, it's all right.
That is not bad.
Why is Saturdays a bad idea?
It's gonna be hard to get reps.
Yeah, we got high school.
Yeah, we got all-day tournaments, two-week tournaments.
It's hard for you to get refs for Saturdays?
I don't know.
Yeah, because the high school is filming at the same time.
Yeah, the high school tournaments.
I've
Sundays would be much better, I think.
Sundays.
I know I can't compete with the high schools on price point. They can pay the rest a lot more than I can afford to pay them. So, I got to handle facilities pretty soon because it's difficult to get all the. So, all right, so I'm going to try to avoid Saturdays.
Which, you know, Saturdays after February, you know, after.
Yeah, March,
After
yeah, March would be
February,
good.
yeah.
Saturdays.
Because the states.
Yeah, stretch it out,
March
don't
10th,
condense
so
it.
Yeah.
Spread
No,
it out.
but in March it's very hard to tell what's happening with Niway states, USA states, Niway regionals, USA
It's a
regionals.
warm up, it's a good warm up for those events if you can coordinate it properly.
I think that they won't know like Teddy. Do you have any idea when you found out last year?
I sent you a text, right? What we plan on doing? We plan on doing super regional, will be the weekend between the high school sectionals and the states.
But are those dates released yet?
I don't know.
Yes,
Yeah,
high school states
sectionals.
released.
Yeah, and then the states will be the weekend after the high school states will be our USA states.
Okay, I didn't realize that the dates were already released. Okay, that's perfect.
I threw that at you because I thought you would do the research.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand.
I got a
Okay.
few other things going on. Like I was in Indiana for 4 days with these freaking 7th and 8th grade knuckleheads.
How was it?
Team New York took 16th, if everyone wants to know. Team New York Freestyle Greco took 16th in Greco out of 39 teams, and we took 16th in Freestyle out of 39 teams. And we had like 8 kids from Long Island, 3 kids from Copiague. We had Max Gallagher from Bayport Blue Point. We had Hank Baranowski from wherever the hell Hank's from.
Those are my guys.
Yeah, we had a few, and then we had a lot of upstate kids, and we did really well. So better than half.
All right, guys, I'm gonna put my brain to it. I think I'm gonna choose like maybe I'll choose some events and some dates. I'll start getting the work done, and then I'll shoot you guys out like a complete packet with all the information that you'll be able to bring to your wrestlers and their families. Yes.
You're gonna be able to have more than 5 events because you got more than how many teams in here, you know, so you can do 7 events and they only have to go to 5.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I just got to figure out like how to mix it. And I have a cap right now. We're gonna do 8-hour events, where it's like 325 kids is the max I can fit to give everyone 3 matches and flow. So
Jason,
If you can come up with dates, X amount of dates, and then the teams can pick 5
Yeah.
dates that they want to attend and commit to. What's that?
You're gonna still have the same
then we
facilities
then we said
as
then
last year,
we-
Massachusetts, or St. James?
So we'll definitely have those 2, but I'm gonna look for additional, because I think we should kind of try to. You don't want to go to Hewitt, and Hewitt doesn't want to go to you. So we should try to pick a couple spots, and maybe you decide which ones you want to travel to, because maybe you do feel like for one event it's worth it, but you don't want to go there every week. So that actually sounds like a pretty good way to go about
Are
it.
you guys gonna bring more than 10 kids? Probably, right?
What do you mean?
Team, what do you mean by that?
Well, he's thinking 10 per team, right?
I have no idea what I'm gonna try to bring. Every kid that I have is gonna. I make my kids get so.
There was a kid.
So Jason, last year what you did worked, right? Everyone had good feedback from it.
For him it didn't work, but for everybody else. it
That's
did.
what I'm asking. What was wrong with what you were doing?
We just weren't getting. The level.
The numbers?
The numbers weren't high enough, and the level was too high. Nobody. If you guys don't all commit to bring your beginners at the same time,
Yeah, the match is the,
I could look. If you're the only guy who brings your beginners and everyone brings their intermediates, the best thing for me to do this year is just be a coach for these guys. I have no matches. So sorry. Last year I made the mistake of trying to give them matches. And people think it was
What's
too
the
tough.
expectation of people bringing their beginners?
They want to know everyone else is bringing their beginners. Because if I'm the only one who brings my beginners are probably going to quit.
Yeah, but I can't force my beginners to wrestle.
You can't.
Because the kids don't, and we tell them, you're you're not required to compete in the tournaments. You come to practice, you learn the sport, especially when they're young, and if they want to compete, they can compete. I'm not forcing
I mean,
anybody.
every other
You know,
sport,
I'm
they
not s-
compete. Soccer competes against soccer. Basketball, we're the only ones that are limiting from competing, and I think that's just holding.
Nobody's limiting anything. We're giving them a choice.
Yeah, but that's what he's saying.
We're the only
Maybe
sport
that's
that
what-
gives
that's why
We're gonna
team
go
You're
as
part of
Soccer
the wrestling
team.
team, you're gonna
All
come
three
to
of us
the
make
team,
it.
you know, that's, you're
Jason,
saying
I'm
that's
thinking
part of
about
the.
days was doing this beginner event.
No, listen, I'm not saying you guys are wrong. I'm
No,
not.
I'm just saying, it's like kind of, you
I
and
might
me
try
saying,
it.
like, hey,
We
you
might-
may
I'll
We've
participate as a
got a
team,
lot
you
of
know,
in-house
in what
clubs
you're
that don't
practicing.
even participate in tournaments.
Yeah.
Whitman, right?
I'm
Whitman,
not saying
you
it's
got,
wrong.
Harbor Fields, they got a little in-house program, they don't even do nothing. You got, Half Hour Hills East.
I feel like that type of program is like the ultimate to build from. Because once we have those kids rated and we've got a pack of them, we can grow easily from kids off the street. You know, like kids who've never wrestled before, we can throw them in right away and they can know if they like wrestling instead of having to do. Kids, when we teach kids the basics before they've wrestled in a match, they have no idea what they're learning.
Oh, you got Cold Spring Harbor, they got a program, but they don't do no events. Smithtown.
You can't force them though, you can just,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, they do.
Well, I don't think they
beginner
know. If it was a
Yeah, I-
beginner event, they might
Yeah.
be a little more interested.
Yeah, I know,
Nobody
but
wants
I
to
was-
pay
I was
the
thinking
fee.
with the half-hour program, and a lot of the parents were just kind of confused, like, so it's just practice, there's no, and we
Yeah.
were like, well, if you wanna go to a tournament, you go on your own, and there's no parent that wants to go on their own, especially if they don't know the sport, it's kind of
Yeah.
foreign to them, so at least we say, hey,
Well, you
you
can
know.
send a coach.
Yeah, exactly, well, that's what we tried to do, but, you know, I think it has to be a little bit more forceful next year, and saying,
Yeah.
hey, we're going as a team, we'd really like everybody to go as a team, right? Not just like, you know, choose to, like, hey, we're gonna be there, we're putting our time in, let's everybody go, you know?
Well, I think the kids are gonna inspire one another because it's gonna be like, hey, we could have beaten Pro X last week if we had a few more of our guys scoring points for us. For the team, I think the team scoring could make it more exciting for all the kids that way. Yes.
So again, to me, believe it or not, I've come to a little bit of a revelation as long as I've been involved in wrestling. Because just looking at Jack and Jack looking at me, and I think you're right, because I don't know, because forever I've been giving everybody the option. But what if we just say, because again, if we just say that, okay, you're going to sign up, and we start on, November 15th. And these are our dates that we compete on. And I guess we don't have to make it mandatory, but we got to say, this is what we do. We compete on these days. So you join up, and I'm just not sure about how the financial component's going to weigh in, because that's going to make it more money. But it's something that I'm,
Yeah, that's, in Jersey was like, you sign up, here's a schedule, and on the schedule, like, this is when you're competing on this day and that day. So you give that to somebody, they're gonna be like, okay, these are the days we have to show up.
You're working towards
The
something.
only difference is, compared to lacrosse and soccer, is there's a team, there's a game that needs to be played, and you need a certain amount of players on the field. So that's the only difference between wrestling, where it's hard to say, well, we need you because,
We
you
don't.
wrestle because.
Wrestling's also a lot more anxiety inducing.
It's a lot more,
You're
it's a
out
little
there by
different, it's a
yourself.
little different.
I get it's a lot easier for kids to not want to do it. On a soccer field, you got 8 other kids. It's not really, not all the pressure's on you. But I do think that we should at least.
System helps them.
Yeah.
It does
System
help.
helps those brand new guys who get involved, and that wasn't so bad, they
With
went
a
out there
match.
and get killed.
So you could have them games in the morning.
It doesn't work.
Software.
But we can have them at the same
I got
time.
enough coaches.
We'll just make sure they go up.
Jason, quick question.
Yes.
Your team scoring, is it as many kids as you bring, they all score, or you're gonna pick like 15 guys or 10 guys?
I don't know yet. We haven't built it yet. In my mind, I think we should start with it really simple, where a win is 1 point for your team. We can get to dual scoring and all that later on, where you get more for a pin. But right now, I think just 1 point for your team. But then that raises the question: what about the team that brings 30 kids?
Right, that's what I'm saying.
compared-
So do you
So
get to
I'm-
pick your 10 kids or whatever? Like, let's do 10 kids at a
I
time.
think that's the way you could. Actually, that's a really good way to do it. You divide. I think we might also go like, all right, small teams for teams that are less than 5. Then we'll have the 5 to 10 team range, or like the 10 to 20 team range. I'll be able to figure it out, even if I have to do some like spreadsheet math on my own. But I will come up with as fair of a system as I can, so that way it's like a dangling carrot for all the kids to try to make their team the best team.
I've been to tournaments where you pick your top 10 kids, and you pick them right away and say, here, these are the 10 kids that you score, for your team.
Right.
And that's pretty cool, and that
Yeah.
works out in the end.
I'm gonna consider that as well. I gotta do some math before I.
Right, if you have 30 kids, you have 2 teams. 15 kids a team.
Like, as far as like getting like team scoring, what about like if you just do like 1 point for regular decision, 1.5 for major, 2 for tech, and 3 for pen?
So we may go up to that. Right now, though, I figured for the first year, win will be the simplest to program and not confuse. Because how many people are confused by high school dual scorings? They don't understand why this was worth 6 and this was worth 3. I think 1
I don't
point.
think anyone has that problem though.
No, you're talking about the kids. The parents
Kids in the
have.
No, even in general, it's easy to learn.
I- We might, Coach. That's what I have written down here, that we will eventually go up to that system.
Jason, the whole, the no medal thing, what's the thought process behind that? I mean, a lot of kids look forward, they win 3 matches, they look forward to a medal, their younger brother sees the medal, they look in, you know, they wanna do it.
I think it's lame. It's lame. We're doing 4-man brackets where everybody gets a medal.
No,
And
not every, that's what I'm saying.
for tournaments, they deserve
Yeah.
to win a medal. And I would love to put together a tournament as well
Right,
during the season where it's like, all right, this is now it's for the intermediate English wrestlers, and we crown a champion. But to do a 4-man round robin and then give the kid, first off, if you're only going to give the first 3 a medal, like if one kid doesn't get the medal,
Right.
that's lame. And if you're going to give
Yeah.
everyone a medal, that's lame too. And also, you're not winning a tournament here. This is just the competition for your team. Your team can win the day. So, I mean, maybe we could consider doing like medals for the team who wins the day. That could be cool, but I still have to figure out a way to make it so that way it's very competitive between teams and not just that like because you know if the best wrestlers end up on the best team and that's what it takes to win, that's what's going to happen because the parents get together and they they form the super team. So I'm hoping that we can kind of like stop that.
yeah.
Yeah,
But again, there shouldn't be, with your format, there shouldn't be super teams, you know, it's
Right now, it should
should be
not
hostile.
matter. Even the super team is going to go.
Right,
You know, just a beginner team might have a better day.
right.
You know.
What about like specialized like awards, like where like you do like an award for most pins for least amount of time, like something like that gets awarded to one kid from that one team, and it works that way, and you try
So
to.
the idea of doing like a couple special awards for the day sounds cool.
Kid who jumps the most points.
Yeah, most outstanding for the day.
Most
Whoever
improved or whatever,
most
yeah.
improved for the day. You know, I don't know how well that'll work if we're only doing 3 matches, because then there'll be kids that go 3-0 that still don't have it. When we were doing like unlimited matches for 2 hours, that made more sense.
Yeah, then people get mad.
I think this year we'll try a couple different formats. We'll try a day where it's like we give everyone time to get 6 matches, and then for our standard league events, we'll do what I'm talking about: 3 matches, hour and 15. And how do you guys feel about hour and 15? Does that sound like the right time frame? Yeah.
You get a lot of.
I can do. I mean, I can do. We can do faster with less matches. We can make it. It's all about. I can do any numbers you guys think is best. Think.
Yeah, but that's just for one weight.
No, coach is gonna be there forever. We can talk to parents.
Yeah.
That's not bad. They should figure the kid comes at 9 o'clock. Where they long way? 1:30?
So you guys are. Actually, I don't know. That's not true. The other
Kids got over mats in 5 minutes.
Yeah. We went there, we were late on the pins.
I was ready.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Coach, I don't want to be too
Top and bottom.
presumptuous. It was January 12th, Coach?
kids,
January
these
12th.
kids take
Cool. Got it.
Next kid goes down.
That's what your mindset is.
Don't let them wrestle.
Yeah.
Interesting show today, I can't believe it. This one Jamie was gonna be here. I talked to him Monday, said he's
He
coming.
was doing the little guy program?
Yeah, I did.
You don't like the league?
Coach, you want to, pick him up? I can pick him up for you. Guys, this is the last thing, guys, before we, well, does anyone have any other questions first? I support the All-Star Wrestling Camp in Kings Park. It's a really great camp, and I just wanted to give you guys some flyers for it. I do it every year. It's awesome. And, Coach, how many kids did we have there last year?
If I could just talk real quick, July 8th through the 12th, Kings Park, the school district gives us the gym. It's for 5 days. The camp's been running for about 20 years. I'm not gonna say it's a better camp than any other camp that's going on. The one nice feature about this particular camp is the exposure of working out in an environment where everyone's friendly, working out, and wrestling all day. So it's one of the better times of the year for me. Kids come in from all over. We have college kids. We're trying to make it where over the years, I think it's grown, where it's a hub for college guys to have a place to work out right here home in our backyard. Obviously, to pay these guys to be here to work with our children, our kids, our students, our athletes, the more kids we have, the easier it is to pay everyone. So this is not a business on our end. I'm a high school coach, I'm a school teacher, so we try to do what's right for the kids that are training and the coaches that come in. And we have guys that come in, I'm not gonna drop names because I know it gets tacky, but we have guys that come in from all over. They've been very loyal to the camp, and they've been very loyal to the camp over the years. You, coaches, you're all invited. Coaches and their sons come for free. And it has grown considerably over the years. We've been doing it 20 years. I think we have 250-something kids. So if you want a spot for your kids to have workout partners, it's definitely, if we go from kindergarten through 12th grade, we have about 8 sessions. There's about 3 clinicians for each group. If you have time, stop in. We're all wrestling people here. It gets your juices going. It's definitely a great week of wrestling here in Long Island. So.
It's got good local talent.
And it's all
Local instructors too.
Yes, and then a couple of coaches from outside that come in and fly in from the major neighboring universities. Pennsylvania, Iowa, we have a kid from Purdue. West Virginia has a couple of guys.
Now you're name dropper out.
How come I'm not on the flyer, Bill?
Remind me next year.
All right, guys, I think that was pretty quick.
Good stuff.
We got it done.
When do you need a commitment by? Like what?
I'm gonna let me iron out some details, and then I'll come up with cause I'm gonna make you. Here's a question I have for you guys. When do you guys start your season? And
Election
when is your registration? Before you guys leave tonight, I'd like you to.
September.
October.
I'm gonna reach out to all you guys directly. I think that would be the easiest way to get it. Because I think it would be best to have it so that way when you guys do your registration, you'll know at that point. But I need to know venues earlier because I won't be able to book venues in September. I'm gonna have to book venues soon. So I'll get you guys some information in a week or so, and then we can figure it out from there. For the season. For the season. So we'll say all 5 events at once. It'll be a very discounted rate for the guys who are going to do the 5 events, and then we'll upsell everybody who doesn't want to buy in for the season.
So these will change so that with a shortened schedule, these numbers will stay the same. They don't really have, I mean, you have.
Five things you do.
I think if we're doing 5 events, I could probably. Well, let me do some math before I start making promises. But I'm not trying to. I'm trying to get a lot of people at the events more than I am trying to make a buck.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure I don't go back.
No, I agree. Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming, gentlemen. This is awesome.
Thanks, Jason. Thank you. Thank you for the pizza.